Hey everyone, this is going to be a short one today. I totally missed this. I forgot to explain how I set up the shoot ability in part 1 of the series. So if you missed part 1, go check it out and come back if you get a little bit lost. But as the saying goes, it's better late than never, right? So let's jump in. As with the move ability, I create an exported variable called player that expects a character body 2D. So in the inspector, you can drag your player node into it. I also create an exported variable bullet scene that expects a pack scene where you can drag a preloaded pack scene of the bullet, which the game will instantiate every time the player shoots. Next, we need to set the input action for shooting. It defaults to shoot in the input map, assigning it to spacebar, which I defined earlier in part 1 of the series. Doing it this way means that I can also change it in the editor without touching the code. The constant, fire rate, sets the cooldown between shots. In this case, the player must wait 0.5 seconds before they can fire again. And the last variable we'll need is a bool can shoot to track whether the player is currently allowed to shoot. It starts as true, so the player can fire immediately when the game begins. In the processability function, we check if the player is pressing the shoot action button, the space bar, and if can shoot is currently true, and then call the shoot function, and then immediately set can shoot to false. Then I create a timer and pass in the fire rate, and when the timer times out, connect to an on-fire rate timeout function that simply sets the can shoot bool back to true. Now, in Godot 4, there's an easier way to call this function in one line without the need for an external function, and that's by the use of a lambda function, as seen here. This is just a fancy way of saying an inline function that runs a small piece of code. Instead of writing a separate on-fire rate timeout function, we can define the behavior directly inside connect. This lambda function is a compact, anonymous function defined right in place. It has no name and no parameters. Func sets the function with no arguments. Can shoot equals to true is the body. It simply re-enables shooting. So this whole lambda is saying when the timer finishes, just set can shoot back to true. This is really useful when you only need to run the code once, the logic is short and simple, and you want to avoid cluttering your script with lots of tiny callback functions. Now for the shoot function. First, I check if there's a bullet scene that actually contains a valid packed scene. If it's null or unassigned, the function will skip the rest to prevent a crash. Then create an instance of the bullet scene to be placed in the scene. This line calculates where the bullet should spawn. Vector 2, 50, 0 means it's placed 50 pixels to the right. Dot rotated, player rotation, rotates that vector based on the direction the player is facing. So the bullet spawns 50 pixels in front of the player, no matter its angle. This sets the bullet's global position in the world and places it right at the tip of the ship, using the player's current global position plus the rotated top offset. Then the bullet's rotation is matched to the player's. It's very important so that it travels in the same direction the ship is facing. And finally, I add the bullet to the scene tree, making it an active part of the game. And that's it. A quick and easy way to set up the shoot ability code with composition. Again, this is more of a supplemental video to part 1 of the series, where I set up the player's ability using composition. So go check out part 1 if you need to get up to speed. I'll put a link to it in the description. Also, all the project files are in the game's itch.io page, also linked in the description. So, thanks for watching. This has been Decoupling Games.